Hi, welcome back to another episode of What the Heck Next, my podcast that I started almost a year ago. This is episode 38. I made a commitment to do it for a year because my career of producing in Hollywood for 40 years slowly evaporated with the entire industry that has evaporated. I've had some interesting things happen this week, and I can't wait to get into it with you because I ran into some Hollywood people who shined a light on kind of what's going on, in their opinion, some high powered people. Life has a way of changing our plans, the ones we never planned to change. And I'm at the other end of that. So this is What the Heck Next. And we're going to talk all about this week in Hollywood, or not Hollywood. Let's go. Welcome back to another episode of What the Heck Next. My name is Carrie Morrow. I produced in Hollywood for 40 years, 4 decades. Real movies, TV, reality, everything you can imagine, but mostly scripted projects. That sort of dried up around 2022 with a sort of little bit of drizzling possibilities that lasted through now, even with a project I recently thought was happening, not happening. Seems to be the conversation in Hollywood. Everybody thinks they're going to get this thing going soon, as soon as they get money or a star. And I got invited into a situation where this project that people I know were involved in, and they made it sound like this is happening in 10 minutes or less. And I was paid to do the budget and the schedule. And as it sort of revealed itself over the past couple of months at this point, the money's not there. The script is in need of attention. There's no cast, and it's a first time director that's not in the DGA. Those things make a difference. I know there's a lot of low budget projects that are out there, and people are just hitching their wagon to any possibility, but it's really frustrating. So you think something and then you don't think something. I went to a party on Saturday night. My friend of a lifetime that I actually met when I first moved to Hollywood in 1984. I met her at a production company called Empire Productions. She and I became friends back in 85. We have stayed friends all these years. She has a daughter who's graduating college with her master's. Congratulations to her. There was a party on Saturday night, and I went to the party, sort of Hollywood people, because everybody in my world is sort of connected to Hollywood. There was a very big, important agent. This person is probably one of the top agents in Hollywood. I mean, really top, representing the biggest names in Hollywood. It's interesting. I've never met her before. I know her husband from before they were married. I haven't seen him in at least 10 years. And it was interesting to have a face-to-face conversation with somebody who is really at the top of Hollywood. This look on her face as she described what it's like to go to board meetings in her most powerful agency every week and go around the room and who's got projects and what are your clients doing. There is really nothing to talk about. She was so honest, truthful about the landscape, what the hell is not going on in Hollywood, how difficult it is to face all these actors and everything that we're all going through and not have work for any of them. So it's not just us. Somebody said, well, actors can work anywhere. It doesn't matter if Hollywood isn't like alive and well, but there's quantitatively like a tenth of the projects that used to be, and the amount of opportunities just don't exist. And in the same breath, I get a phone call this week from my friend who's like, oh, my brother and I are going to do Shrinking, and then I'm going to go do The Rookie, and then my other friend is on Baywatch. And so there is a contingent of people who are working in Hollywood. There's a few people, but the majority of people, they're not. Those are like the last of the Mohicans, so to speak. They're so lucky they have work. I I wasn't part of that lucky. It's hard. It's hard to sit here and go, wow, you hear that there are these big shows, there are these big productions going on. You're not on any of them, and you're not even being called for any of them because everybody's holding on to those projects for dear life. I heard something this week that the Pope did an article about AI and his opinions that AI was supposed to enhance humanity, not replace humanity. He has deep concerns about what AI is going to do to everybody and everything because it's becoming pretty obvious that it's far more powerful than anybody thought. At the beginning, everybody thought Google. Google was just Google, and what a great invention that you no longer need an encyclopedia. Okay. When I was a kid, we had the salesman come to the house and sell the entire collection of the Encyclopedia Britannica, which was A through Z and everything in A and B and Z and all the information in all of these books that are now replaced by AI. And it's interesting, my son went to school. He's graduating today from high school. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To me, I think I should be getting the diploma or at least some sort of associate degree for what it took to get that child through high school. But the hard part for me was that he's online schooled through California. He doesn't read the material and do the presentation. He had teachers and he had to meet with them several times a week. He did his work one-on-one. It was fascinating to me that my son made it through high school without one single book. Book, not a book. Everything was digital. His platform was digital. He signed in every single week. The assignment, the course, the materials, the videos, the reading material were all online. My mother asked me yesterday, is that like how it is? Like every school? I don't know. My daughter went to college and she didn't have books either. She went to a Cal State and everything was digital. So, dear Pope has valid concerns about AI replacing everything. I told you a few months ago that I got called to review a software that would take my job. Okay, well, didn't sound very exciting to me. It's just a complicated world, and I had to review this week and think that this agent that I talked to, she had such a sadness to her outlook on Hollywood. How long do you stay when there's nothing to stay for? I just sit here from my perspective and wonder what happened to my Hollywood. Gone. I was talking to my friend today who, for the first time, he was getting crumbs of work, but every project is becoming just crazy with these new actors, and they're not actors and they're not in SAG, compromising of the rules, the regulations, everything that applies to an entire production is just so compromised. I noticed it in 22 that all the reports were digital and all the scripts with changes were digital and everything was digital and they weren't making color copies anymore. So when a script goes into production, used to be that every script revision was done in a different color. So like if you were reading your script, they would pass out pink pages, meaning these scenes, the director changed them because things change as they go along and the concept changes and the actors change lines and even locations change and days and nights change. So they would give us colored pages. Everything's digital. Everything's digital. So as I have two children who are graduating high school and college this week, I find it fascinating that digital is everything now. The Pope's concerns are valid and the agent's concerns are real. There just is not the quantity of work out there. I saw a report that one of the biggest movies that was submitted to the Tribeca Film Festival is a production that included enormous amounts of AI. That it's an AI presentation. That just changes the landscape, and everything is changing. The Ben Affleck, Matt Damon situation that they sold to Netflix is about AI. So here I launched my kids out into the world, a very AI world. It's fascinating to me. Try to figure out what will happen in this world with no books and everything's just on a computer. I went to a dinner party last week. My cousin was talking about how she was on AI looking into her family tree. She got pretty far. Then all of a sudden, AI gave information that she questioned. So she wrote back and said, I think you're incorrect. These people are not in my family tree, because she knew more than AI. AI literally wrote her back and said, you're right, I lied. What? We were all laughing at the party because she was saying that AI said to her it wasn't true, that they just thought that, she was enjoying the back and forth, and they put up a fake name, it's kind of weird, into her family tree. She caught it right away. I called AI out on it, and they said, I lied. Well, that's kind of scary. Lately, people will say, I'll say, I asked AI about a medical thing or anything. My mother has a situation with TSA where they broke a bunch of stuff in her luggage. Things are missing. Everybody says you have to double check AI. Where you double check anything? You check AI with AI? I mean, where? I don't understand. So it's a different world. And my kids are graduating into a world where AI is it. That's that's it. But thank God for the basics. My son is a lifeguard. Actually, both my children are lifeguard certified. And my son applied for a job at a place. They told him he has to retake the test, which is a 3-day test and a written exam online, in person for 8 hours a day for 3 days. So clearly, it can't have an AI lifeguard. That wouldn't be very safe, now would it? It makes you think. In my insurance situation, you have to wonder. So the latest on that situation is that after my post calling out the CEO, Bill Westrate of American Family Insurance Claims Services, AFICS, and Bill Westrate being the CEO, within hours, and I mean within 24 hours, the top bananas were calling me, telling me, we're gonna resolve your case. Guess what? They paid off my lien. They sent me the money to pay off the lien that they caused by the asbestos people who hadn't been paid since January. And they sent me the money, had the asbestos guy that I was dealing with show up to my rental and pick up a check for $150,000. Then they said, we're gonna put your house back together. We're gonna give you the money, except they want to give me half of what 5 contractors, including their contractor, bid to put the house back together. Now, do me a favor. You tell me how to handle it. Because as a producer of 40 years, I could not take on a production if they said to me, well, we have this much money now. You just start making the movie and we'll let you know how much more we have later. That is exactly what this insurance company said to me. By the way, it's not a few dollars. We're talking up in the $1 million range, and they don't want to pay that. And they don't want to pay half of that. When I went through their bid and I said, how did you come up with this number? Guess what? In 2024, in August of 2024, when I was on my second attorney, a man came out and did a full estimate that if the house was to be reconstructed at that point, that's what it would cost. So in his bid, it did not include the HVAC, the air conditioning, the ducts. Why? Because they weren't missing at that time. There's nothing left in my house, and I've shown you pictures of that. It is gutted down to the studs. There's not even a light bulb, insulation, nothing. Electricity, toilets, plumbing, water, nothing in that house. They don't want to pay up front what it costs. They don't even want to commit Okay. If they said to me, okay, we'll give you 500 now and 500 later, but they're not. They're not saying that. They're just saying, we're going to give you this much money now and you go get started. Why did they say that? Let me tell you, that's one of my gotcha moments. Why did they say that? Because they want me to start this thing and then go, well, we disagree with what's left to be had. I said to them, I'm not singing for my supper. When you authorize destruction of my house, why should I go, okay, well, spend the 500. Guess what? I need another 500. Doesn't work like that. Not in my world. Not as a producer. You cannot be so excited about the crumbs they throw you and go, okay, look, I know you suffered for 3 years and 3 months, but we're only going to give you this much right now. So take it and be happy. Not happening. It's not happening. I can't do that. I can't get started. They destroyed my many $1 million property. And now they want to give me crumbs to get started. So tell me, please comment, email me, let me know what you think. And by the way, I have gotten some pretty ridiculous comments like, just sell the property and get a, excuse me, what is my favorite expression? Do not take advice from people who have never been where you are. Never. My friend said to me yesterday, what's the property worth? Shut up. Who gives insane advice like that? Okay, I have a very valuable home that needs to be fixed, period. Even if it was not fixed to the fabulous like it was, still worth a lot of money. Rebuilt, not knocked down. The property, what are you talking about? Yes, it's a big piece of property in Los Angeles. Do not give me advice like, just sell the land. I don't know where these people get that advice. And by the way, my friends who give me that advice have no money. They're broke. They're always broke and they don't have anything to stand on. So don't give me the advice of what's the land worth? Just walk away. You don't walk away. You fix things, you get what's yours, and then you make it right and get on with your life, which is honestly where I'm at right now. I want the amount of money it takes to put my house back together exquisitely like it was before they took it apart. And I want that put in aside with a guarantee of that's what is. Put it in escrow. I don't care where you want to put it, but you're not going to give me pieces of it. Now, I heard that that's how insurance is. Well, they give you pieces. She even wrote, the adjuster wrote, well, you'll have to show photos. I'll show you photos of what it looked like before. Bring it back to that. That's the photos. Okay. But I can't have a contract come in and go, okay, well, we spent all the money and you still have no plumbing and no HVAC and no kitchen, no cabinets, because those got thrown in the garbage too. And no furniture, no appliances. The bid that they put in, it doesn't equal what it costs to fix this house. Stupid piece of advice. So if anybody has any better suggestions than, sell the land, because stop it. I would never say that to somebody. I would never say that, because if that's how you think, that's why you don't have. You have not because you ask not. That is not who I am or how I live. And I'm exhausted. 3 years, 3 months of my life in this pigsty of a situation that should have been fixed way back when. And by the way, and I recorded conversation with the insurance dude, the boss of my adjuster. He said, we should have gotten involved in 2024. I don't know what we were thinking. Okay, I know what you were thinking. You were thinking 14 adjusters later and nobody was watching the baby. Okay, when you don't watch the baby falls in the pool. That's what happens. And that's what happened here. Catastrophe, unnecessary catastrophe of what they've done to them. I wonder if their bid to rebuild my house was done by AI because they forgot the HVAC. How you forget the HVAC? It actually shows on the asbestos mediation that they threw it in the garbage. 2 huge HVAC systems to re-air my house. It's going to cost $80,000. And you forgot it. Then she said, when I said they have to put that money in the amount you're giving me, and they didn't. So I'd love to know your opinion of what you think. Like I said, I had a really interesting week, and it's really exciting that my son is graduating because I will tell you that was not an easy battle. I would take him to kindergarten and the teacher would say, "Hi, are you his mother?" Yes. Well, don't worry. I'm sure he's fine, but we can't find him. He's missing. This went on for a year, an entire year of me dropping him off, kicking and screaming, and then he would run from the kindergarten and hide. Finally, a year later, they said to me, something's wrong with him. He said, hey, you should put him in a special class. Shut up. Stupid people. Okay, he's just didn't like school. By the way, he still don't like school. Matter of fact, today, he's like, I'm so glad to be done with this. But he has a great sense of pride that he did this. And you want to know what? With the help that they gave him and the tutors and the incredible teachers that I lead in Los Angeles, child graduated with the National Honor Society. Hello, good boy. That's all I can say. This kid, he kept up his hockey and his homework and his schoolwork and everything else with a lot of help from me and the teachers and the tutors. But he did it. Those rites of passage, they're so meaningful to a parent because I really remember dropping him off in the kindergarten and them calling me, telling me they can't find him. I remembered last night I was telling him a story that in the kindergarten, I got a call that he got punched in the nose. Why? Because that sweet little boy said to a little girl, um, when we grow up, I want to marry with you. The girl punched him in the face. Then the teacher called me and told me he's inappropriate. No, she's inappropriate. And that's the truth. There's always more to the story. I just thrive in the fact that he became this incredibly talented, handsome, persevering young man who really went through it with school. They were very rough on him before I got him to a better school. At first, I homeschooled him, and then I got him later around sixth grade to iLead. It's a project-based school. So my mother had asked me yesterday, oh, if you had another kid, would you put him through a project-based school? Here's my answer as an older parent. What fits your child? Not what fits you for your child, what fits your child. And I could not get this kid through public school. I could not. And iLead is a public school, but it's a charter school with much smaller classes, project-based, different emphasis on homework, all that stuff, drill and kill. I had the patience and the tenacity to look beyond the walls and see what fit this kid. So I am very proud of many things. I am very proud that my daughter is finished with her 2-year college. Took her more than 2 years, but she finished. Moving on, I am very proud of my son who, in the right time, finished this high school. Like I really, I can't explain to you how many people would say to me, experts, well, he's different. Not autistic. He didn't. He was special. That's the whole point, is that when they say, he's kind of special. Yeah, that's right. Special. And I saw it from the very beginning, and I believed in it, and I stood by it, and I wasn't afraid of it. And he's graduating high school today. He's going to a great hockey program in Boston. And my daughter's on her own path, and she'll finish college eventually. But me, I should be getting the diploma today because I worked so hard. And by the way, through this program where he was online and he was learning digitally, I learned so much more than I ever learned when I was in high school because I had the room and the bandwidth to to take it all in while I was teaching him. Boy, life is really different, but it's really still the same. Kids grow, and it does feel like yesterday that he was just the tiniest baby. And people would say, oh my God, he's so tiny. I don't want to hold him. He's going to break. He was a little bitty baby. And now he's 200-pound hockey player. I am so proud of him. And for those of you who have graduates out there, we are so proud together. And I thank you for listening to me. And I am doing my best to be an expert in my life and experience, what it's done for me and what I've learned and what I'm taking with me. And thank you so much for always coming back and listening to me, because Hollywood is unrecognizable and it changed the plans I never planned to change. I thought I would do Hollywood till I was not vertical anymore. And it didn't turn out that way. But great things are happening. I always say to you, great things happen when you shoot the puck. Like, follow, listen, subscribe. Please comment. Give me your insights and thoughts. I can be found on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube daily, LinkedIn. My podcast is every Wednesday. What the Heck Next by Carrie Morrow, the 40-year producer. I am on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, and you should. There's a lot of great information out there. It's, we're real. And everything I come to you with is real. If you have any questions or anything you'd like me to talk about, like, follow, listen, subscribe, please. Hit that subscribe button and that like. I appreciate all the support. Have a great week. Great things happen when you shoot the puck.